my favorite number one always will be the all-time greatest Buffalo Bill, in my opinion, is Bruce Smith. Now, what does Josh have to do to, bump Bruce? Isn't just win a Super Bowl. I mean, that could be it.
Yeah.
If you were just talking like, yeah, he won a Super Bowl. He's a quarterback or whatever. But I think if the Super Bowl comes and the numbers continue to climb like they are, yeah, there will be a lot of debate about who's the greatest Buffalo Bill.
It's time for Nuff Said with Bob Koshinski. Brought to you by Chef's Famous Italian Restaurant and Riverworks, Buffalo's premier waterfront entertainment complex.
Welcome back to another edition of Nuff Said with yours truly. Boy, I'm excited today because we got one of the greatest players in the history of the Buffalo Bills and the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, Thurman Thomas. We were just reminiscing. I was on Thurman's show. He always said, it's always going to be my show. 34 years ago. You look great. You look great.
I tried to, man, I've been busy since, I guess, my football career ended.
Yeah.
A lot of moving parts. We have 5 grandkids. We have 9 kids, 4 biological and 4 that we adopted. So, yeah, we have the construction company, the energy company, tech company. I mean, we're into everything. We're moving around, and there's no better place that I want to do it than right here in Buffalo.
So that brings me right to something that I wanted to talk about briefly, and that was you and I were at a dinner at the Apollos in the early 2000s, and you were living down in Florida.
Yeah.
And you were telling me that you were thinking of moving back to Buffalo, because your quote was, and I never forgot this. You said, down in Florida, I'm just another rich black guy in a nice house. But up here, I'm a Buffalo Bill. And you were so right, because the players from the Bills teams, I don't care who you are or when you played, it's always special to be back in this town, isn't it?
It's always special. I mean, even with the guys that played before we did, that played before I did, I mean, I see Booker Anderson all the time, Right. I mean, even those guys. Just to know and to have those guys that play for the Buffalo Bills, and a lot of them still live here in the Buffalo area, and you can say that for the Sabres also. Just a bunch of guys who have retired that have made their home Buffalo, and I think it just fits perfectly with me and and Patty and what we're doing as a couple to the best place for us to be busy, because I don't know if we live somewhere else, do we get the same treatment at that place do we do here in Buffalo?
The doors don't open as quickly.
Right, exactly. So I don't know how that's going to be if we decide to pick up and move. That's going to take another 10 years, and in 10 years I'll be 70.
Yeah.
So I don't want to have to try to make new friends along the way. Just the people that I got here, the people that we know here. It matters to us that we're here and we know just about everybody in the city of Buffalo and even outside of Buffalo.
Okay, so we've got a lot to talk about, but I want to first talk about the current team. I was at the preseason game Saturday. This team, I mean, it's been picked as high as the second highest favorite to go and win the Super Bowl. I mean, you've been around the game obviously forever. You've been around this team. I know you've had many a conversation with James Cook.
Yeah.
What's your take on this year? Is this year's team capable of being better than last year's team?
I think that's going to depend on one unit, and that one unit is the defense. I think with Josh and James and adding DJ Moore, it seems like now Keon Coleman is back involved. You got Shakir. I mean, you got Kincaid. I mean, you got a lot of guys.
A lot of weapons.
You have a lot of weapons, but they're not like big known weapons, but people have a problem with like this group here.
Right.
And I think that will, along with James Cook and the offensive line, I'm more worried about the defense because I think we can score 30 points a game.
Right.
I think we scored 30 points in the fourth quarter. I mean,
they have,
right? And I said that, somebody said that about Josh, and I was like, You know, first thing I looked when Josh said, "Don't leave" or whatever. You know, came back and all whatever. I said to the people, yeah, I've been in bigger comebacks than that.
That's right.
So, you know, people
Historic one. Yeah,
people got like, did you think of that? I said, yeah, I thought of that. Yeah, exactly. You know, so yeah, I worry about the defense and see how they're going to perform. If they can be anywhere between, I would say, 10 and 15, just to kind of start the season. And then could you see that gradual growth at the end of the season, them getting better, you know? They might not be doing the things that they were doing in the first half of the season. Okay, we haven't had a turnover in 4 games, you know? But if they can do that at the end of the season, get some momentum going into the playoffs, it makes a big difference. And I think there are going to be games, I think, this year where, you know what? They're going to have to buckle down and win like 14-10. 17-13, you know, those close-knit games, and somebody's going to end up making a play or whatever, you know. I think Cole Bishop has taken another step, and I think with him being back there and being the leader of the secondaries, him and CJ, and knowing that Jim Leonard was a defensive back and now he's a defensive coordinator, I think all that can play, and I think Cole Bishop will probably be one of those guys who's going to step up this year because, you know, that's kind of basically the same position that Jim Leonard played. And so yeah, I just think it's, you know, the NFC is loaded. The AFC is, I mean, it's pretty loaded. I think when you look at the AFC, hey, the 2 guys that didn't make the playoffs last year, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, you know, what are their season going to be like? So there's going to be a lot of pressure on them to see, hey, can they have a bounce back year? Because those guys get another year in a row they don't make the playoffs, then people will be like, okay, let's not talk about these guys. Who's next? And that guy has always been Josh Allen. It's always been Josh Allen, even for the last 3. I probably, at this point, think he probably should have at least 2 MVPs. I mean, that's just how remarkable the guy has played over the past 4 or 5 years. So, you know, I hope that also hope Tyler Bass can come back and, you know, get a new life here with this football team in this new stadium. So, but yeah, it all depends on me, you know, how that defensive plays and are they able to get stops at crucial times and are they able to get turnovers.
Your buddy Bill Polian has always said to be a Super Bowl contender, you need a franchise quarterback, you need a running game, and you need a top 10 defense.
Yeah.
They have the first 2.
Yeah.
You're right. It's the question of whether their defense can be that defense.
It is, and we'll see, because I know there's a lot of guys over there that are playing like haven't played this position before. I mean, you just can't just get rid of those guys or what have you like that. So like, you know, I know Ed Oliver's name has come up, and you haven't heard too much about, you know, what's been going on with him down in training camp. I haven't really heard him just say, as long as he stays healthy and maybe he'll figure it out, you know, what position that he needs to be in, how differently does he need to play now instead of being in a 4-3 and a 3-4. So, yeah, that's Greg Rousseau, another one, you know. I mean, the list goes on because for 9 years we were a 4-3 team. We weren't a 3-4 team. And I think that makes a huge difference athletically, especially with the 3-4 defense that I was used to playing against. You got Darryl, you got Shane, you got Bentley, you know. You got Cornelius on one side, and then you got Bruce, Jeff Wright, and Phil Hansen on the inside. That's your 3-4 right there, yeah. And when you look at that, you look at the linebackers aspect of it. Those were athletes, guys that can move, guys that could cover a tight end down the lead, that could cover a back coming out of the backfield. And then you got this monster of a beast wearing 78 who, if you double team him, he still might beat you. If you triple team him, he still might beat you, and that's going to free up somebody else. So, yeah, it's and we don't have that. But I hope somebody emerges from that. And I think that's what we want to see. Because I think if you look at this football team, there's some really good players, and I think there's a couple of great players. Obviously, Josh being one. I think James Cook needs to be talked about a little bit more. And I expressed to him, like, you know what? If they're not talking about you now, you need to do better.
Yeah.
You need to up your game. And I talked to him and said, that's exactly what I want to do. That's exactly what I want to do. And he said to me, and he doesn't really talk that much, but I got a couple of things out of him. He was like, yeah, I think I led the league in fumbles last year. I don't want that to happen. And I'm like, oh, there you go. That's a start right there.
Exactly.
That's a start right there. So, yeah, he's. I've always liked him coming out of college, out of University of Georgia, and I just think for this offense, I just think like even with this running game, and we got a great offensive line, I think he needs to catch the ball down the field a little bit more. I mean, he's quick enough and limber enough to where he can beat a linebacker. He can beat a defensive back. He can beat a defensive back. I kind of want to give him that opportunity, but they have this system where it's Ty Johnson on third down, Ray Davis comes in, and it just goes. I'm not used to that,
Well,
back in my day.
Well, first of all, you experienced that, not getting the recognition in your early years, right? You lived that.
Yeah.
Of course, it was different for you because you had a bunch of studs playing around you, so it was a question of who was going to get the ball, who was going to get the headlines, and you were playing in a smaller market.
Yeah.
That wasn't getting the attention until you guys started going to the Super Bowl every year.
Right.
And then the media got tired of talking about the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
But, I think Cook with McDermott, I mean, whether he fumbled or whether he dropped the pass downfield, which happened a couple times earlier in his career, Sean yanked him off the field.
Yeah.
That's not good for your confidence, number one. And number two, they started figuring out, well, we're going to put somebody in there on third down who can catch the ball. But nobody can cover this guy.
No.
Right? I mean, he's so elusive. When you see him running once he gets past the line of scrimmage, that's his strength.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And, I was actually really like praying, like, you know what, I would love for this dude to win the rushing title. And, they gave him that opportunity. He took it, man, and ended up winning his first rushing title. And people are always saying, like, well, you're going to wear him out. I'm like, he's missed so many plays in his career by sitting on the sideline.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're going to wear him out?
He hasn't been a workhorse.
He hasn't been a workhorse. He hasn't been a workhorse. Even this past year when he had over 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns, he really wasn't a workhorse. He was averaging 5 yards a carry. So he wasn't a workhorse. And Ray Davis and Ty Johnson were getting a lot of that stuff. Now, I did see probably later on in the season he was getting more third down. But I think that was more of a concern of, okay, well, this team doesn't blitz as much. So we can put James out there.
Yeah, they don't worry about him pass blocking.
Yeah, so, and so, but just having him out there on the football field, he's a threat running the football and catching the football. I mean, I would love to always have, you talk about him, but, our number one guy, Josh, has been out there every single play.
Yeah, absolutely.
He hasn't been hurt.
No, he just doesn't go down.
He just doesn't stay down. I think the one thing that we looked at, I think it was last year, I think it was in Denver, where his knee got kind of laid on a little bit, but he's been healthy for us, and I think that's been a huge step.
Well, last
for
year
us.
he had a broken bone in his foot, and we didn't know it until he had surgery after the season.
Yeah,
I saw Rich Ensign on his show, and he asked you to compare Josh with Jim Kelly, which I always think is an unfair comparison. The era was different, the players around you were different, but they were both and are tough as nails, right? I don't know if I even realized how tough Jim was till he went through all his medical issues, which has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
But obviously Josh could run better than Jim. I mean, Jim would be the first guy to say it.
10 times.
Right.
10 times. I mean, Josh would run better with one eye open, I mean, yeah.
Jim, you watching this? But first of all, I thought, the one thing I thought was the difference between the two, small difference. I thought Jim throws a better long ball than Josh. Jim had a great knack for just leading, whether it was Lofton or Beebe or Andre downfield, with the so-called bomb. He could loft that ball. For Josh, it's more of on a rope.
Yeah.
And but they both have unbelievable arm strength.
Yeah.
Jim was more of he'd call you out if there was a mistake, right? You lived that. Josh, not so much.
I lived it, but yeah.
Well, so I told him when he came in, this is not going to be a remember when, but how can you not? When you think back to you got that team in '89 with the problems you had, I still remember Marv Levy called you and Jim Kelly. He did a press conference with just the three of you.
Yeah.
And it was like you two guys were in high school, and the principal said, you're going to come out and you're going to talk. Because, the bickering Bills. But as a unit, you guys are so close now, best friends. To be old enough, as I am, to have seen the evolution of that really talks about the camaraderie you guys developed in the early 90s going to all those playoff games and Super Bowls.
Yeah, I think if that sequence doesn't happen with me and Jim, we might not go to Super Bowls.
Right.
I'm seriously talking. We might not reach 4 Super Bowls. We might have reached 1, but I don't think we would have reached 4 years in a row because at that time, it was Jim's town. I mean, Jim ran this town. I mean, he was the guy here, and it just became like, you know what, just something wasn't right. Just something wasn't right, and I talked to Bill Polian about it, and they were like, man, you guys haven't said anything to him about what he said about Chris Burkett and Howard Ballard. I mean, you guys haven't said anything to our knowledge. And you know what? As a professional team, you know what? You probably don't have to tell us anyway, right? But being that type of group that you did not say anything, and you know what? And I go back and look and say, you know what? I probably stirred the pot more than anything. I probably should have came to one of you guys and said, why haven't you guys reprimanded
to the
Jim?
Media?
No, to the Bills organization. Yeah. Instead of saying
that. Yeah, you were never shy.
No, I wasn't. No. Hey, look, you guys wanted the truth. I gave you the truth. But y'all thought I was a bad guy. No, it didn't work that way. You wanted honest answers, and I gave you honest answers. That was it.
So that forced you two guys to kind of open up and...
Yeah, open up a little bit. Yeah, and like, you know what? And it all came together. Going back to that press conference that we had, my kids and my Patty, they showed it to me all the time. Look at you two. I'm like, I do not want to be there.
How old were you?
How old were I?
89.
23, 24?
So you've got kids. You think at your kids' age of 23, 24 that they knew everything about the world? I mean, you were just learning, right?
Just learning.
Yeah.
Away from home, I'm like, I'm kid that came from not much, and now all of a sudden I can look at my bank account and at least I got $50,000 in there, right? so I'm like,
it was a lot,
yeah. Nobody taught me this. Nobody sat me down and said, okay, this is how you're supposed to handle the meeting. They do it today, but back then, nobody helped you.
No.
Nobody, even Scott Burstow, who I love to death, nobody helped you deal with that.
Yeah, and I think Scott was like the number 2 guy back then. I think Denny Lynch was the
Denny
PR
Lynch.
guy. Yeah.
And I wasn't going to listen to Denny Lynch.
That wasn't Denny's strong suit, no. Well, back then, the Buffalo media still meant a lot to the team.
Yeah.
Today it's different. Today everything goes through the NFL, ESPN. The national guys break all the stories. The local guys are lucky they get called in to do their Wednesday interviews.
Yeah.
It's changed. I mean, the world's changed. What are you going to do?
Everything's changed.
I mean, the fact that an old guy like me can still do a podcast. Back then. Once the station said goodbye, you were goodbye, right? You maybe see him out on the golf course.
And an old guy like me, because I think since this podcast thing has come out, this might be my second or third one.
Well, but you do the Bills, the One Bills Drive show, right?
Yeah, I do that, but nothing like this.
How about your buddy Steve Tasker? At 64, he's going to be out on the sidelines in December and January.
No, I can't believe he agreed to that. But he's been saying, you know what? I think it's going to be good for us. I'm like, first of all, you need to lose a couple first. Yeah.
Just running up and down.
Yeah, right. Just kind of, he's going to be out of breath. You might have to run down the field, and they're going to come right to you, and you don't want to be like, guys, I just made it. Whatever. So I saw him last week. He has lost a little weight.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. So he's, man. I think if you look at that guy, I just
Does he belong in the Hall of Fame?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
He changed the game. You had to have lived the years that he played to realize how important he was.
Yeah.
You can't be somebody 20 years younger and look back at stats and give it a sense of the impact that Steve had on the kicking game.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I think if he wasn't such a great little slot wide receiver, I think he'd be in. Because if he wasn't that nice slot receiver, he could have played special teams a little bit more longer than what he did. You know, I mean, Jim threw him in there and said, you know,
yeah. He loved him, didn't he?
But at the time, I don't think we had anybody, so we had to rely on Tasker to do a lot of that stuff. So in that sense, taking him off a lot of the special team because he was a full-time wide receiver now for some games, not every game, but So, and I think that took away his ability to, you know, block more kicks, to block more punts, you know, grab a ball against the Raiders out of the freezing weather like this and get caught by Willie Gault at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, an onside kick, wasn't it?
Yeah, like a squib kick, yeah.
Chef's Famous Italian Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Nuff Said podcast, welcoming the many sports fans of Western New York to stop in before or after a Bills, Sabres, or Bison's game. Chef's is home to its famous spaghetti parm, and now with frozen entrees available at many of your favorite local grocery stores. Buffalo River Works is also a strong sponsor and supporter of Nuff Said, known as one of Western New York's most unique destinations, combining waterfront dining, live music, sports, and family entertainment among Buffalo's historic grain silos. From ziplining and roller skating to concerts and special events, there's always something happening at Buffalo River Works.
All right, so I think I mentioned at the top, Thur and I, we did a TV show on the Empire Sports Network. 92, 93 was really a cool experience. The difference was, because I did 1 year of Jim's show when I was at Channel 7, we did it in the studio. And then when Jim went back to Channel 2, they did it in the studio. We did that show out on the road.
Yeah.
We did it in grocery stores. We did it in a tire shop.
Malls.
We did Home Depot. So
little bars like Big Tree.
Yeah.
I mean, we did.
Yeah.
We did.
So, and it would be packed with fans. But I vividly remember we went down to a mall in Jamestown, and there were thousands of people. Thousands of people. And so it was kind of interesting because we would take the show on the road, and it exposed you to fans that wouldn't have had a chance to catch you at a game or whatever. And you know, there was when we first started, I'll be honest, I mean, you know, you had a reputation. You're right. You said whatever was on your mind.
Yeah.
But we taped the show, so we didn't have to worry about going live. But it was a great experience, and we had a lot of fun with you. And I remember at some point, I think after the first year, you picked up Carolyn Redd, became one of your representatives, and she was great to work with. Yeah. And so anyway, that was just a fun experience, and I got to know your wife, and I got to know your family. I was at your wedding. Yeah. You know, I mean, it was a different time. You know, it was a different time. And you know, so I'm so glad to see, because now not only did you move back to Buffalo, you're involved with the building of the brand new stadium. Yeah. And your company's responsible for what? Installing every single seat in that arena? Yeah.
Me and my wife started a construction company probably about 10 to 12 years ago. And it was something that her family's been in construction for over 60 years. I mean, her sister, Mickey Mariacker, was the head of construction over at Kaleida, you know, for I don't know how many years. She just retired. So it's always been like in the back of my mind that we could do this. My father-in-law wanted us to start it when we lived in Florida. I was like, gets back to what I have no idea anybody in Florida, and I don't want to start something down in Florida that I don't know anybody. That I got to kind of relate. The only people I knew were Daryl, Andre, Ken Griffey Jr., Tiger Woods was in that area. So I knew athletes. Right. Yeah, I didn't know business people. I didn't know any of the other people that lived down there. And so we got back here, we started, and it's been a really good process, you know, and all of a sudden, you're in this contract with building the new Highmark Stadium, and we were awarded that with Gilbane and Turner and Art. And so, 3-year project, but we started the process talking about it, you know, probably 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And
wow.
And so, it's we put in all 60,000 I don't know if I keep getting the number right. 60,171, 129, something like that. And so, yeah, we had a lot of laborers over there. I mean, we just did, the good stuff, I guess would say.
So my seat Saturday was a little loose. Are you the guy to talk about? I'm just kidding.
Wait a minute, what section?
It was in the end zone section, right?
Oh, was it? Yeah.
I think the one issue they are looking at right now has got to be the field, right? I think the turf Saturday was coming up a little bit. I know not Josh Allen, the other Allen, slid to go out of bounds and kind of kicked a divot. So the field's got to mature, I guess.
Worried about Kyle instead of Josh?
Yeah, I'm not worried about him.
No, you know what? It's a new field.
Yeah.
It is a new field, and it's still, even with all the electronics and everything that they have going into this, having that heating system underneath, it's still going to be some, I don't know. I mean, this type of has never been done up here in this type of weather anyway. So I think they're still going to have to run it through some kinks or whatever. But I think overall, I think it'll be fine. Once James Cook told me that he was faster on grass than he was turf.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, I was like, okay, good job.
That's the opposite of what we always hear, isn't it?
That's the opposite of what we always hear. But then you go back and look at his career. University of Georgia, Southeast SEC. Everybody played grass.
Right.
And he looked fast then. So I'm like, okay, well, this is better. Let's do it.
Remember the artificial turf you first played on at Highmark Stadium? It was like playing on cement.
Oh, yeah. I can remember, I used to, being a rookie, I didn't really know. I saw a guy, Bruce, with no sleeves on. Daryl had started wearing his Spider-Man, and I'm like, I had this long, tight, just sweater on underneath, and just going like the year 2, same thing. And year 3 is when Bud said, you kind of need to start getting used to this. I'm like, so you mean no more sleeves? I'm like, yeah, you don't need to wear sleeves anymore. I say, well, I'm kind of worried about my elbows because the turf or whatever. I say, I'll tape them with pad and we can go. I was like, okay. And so I started getting both of my elbows taped up with some type of spongy thing in the bottom of them. But all the time I would land on my elbows on that concrete, basically. And had I not done that at that time and Bud told me that, I mean, I could be like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, elbows could be just as bad as anything, but it's starting to get a little sore now. Everything has changed since I turned 60. My back, my arm, my knee, yeah, everything's changed. But that turf was not good.
You don't have to play football to know everything changes after 60, I'll tell you that. There's so many things, and I don't want to eat up, an hour of time reminiscing and talking, but it's great that not only are you part of the organization with building the stadium and you're here with your family and you're a Buffalonian.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you are a Buffalonian.
Yeah.
And we're here at Chef's famous Italian restaurant where you may have eaten once or twice.
Just once or twice.
Yeah. So looking at this team, looking at this franchise, Terry Pagula, ownership. I mean, what can we expect? First of all, I will say this, and I think, well, you can or can't disagree. There's no way they're selling these seat licenses without number 17 on your roster, because this town is totally bought into this organization and Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think this is happening without 17.
Right.
And I think, we talk about that and what Kim and Terry did, fantastic. But think about before that. We didn't think we were going to have a team.
Right.
This was, yeah, we didn't think we were going to have a team, but then they bought it and then obviously drafted 17. And like I said, I don't think it would be like it is now with Josh. If Josh is here, this is what happened. People are buying those seats. But if it's somebody else, I think the seats will still get sold. I don't think just as many. Because
exactly.
I don't know if another guy could have. Basically, he was the perfect fit for Buffalo. I can't name any other quarterback that could have came here and done this.
No.
From that draft class. Only one would be the year before, which would be Patrick Mahomes.
The only reason why this team is favored in anything to win a Super Bowl, make the play, is because of Josh Allen. Your team your team had how many Hall of Famers? 7 Hall of Famers?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Plus, your coach is a Hall of Famer. Your general manager's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I mean, you really look back on that era, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right now, and I'm not going to say how, I mean, you have Josh is going to be a Hall of Famer. James Cook, he keeps it up, he could be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Deion Dawkins could be a Hall of Famer. Who else on this team is in that category right now?
Yeah. No, I don't. Those are probably the only 3 guys.
Right.
Those are, I mean.
And 2 of them are maybes, right?
Yeah. And
so Allen elevates everybody on that roster.
Yeah. I just hope that we could keep him till his career's over with.
Yeah.
When is that going to be? I don't know. I mean, maybe he wins the Super Bowl and he goes off. You know, I don't know.
His wife's a talented actress. He's got a family.
I mean, like I say, now, all of a sudden, we've seen the Josh for first 7, 8 years, but all of a sudden we have a Josh now who life is different. It's like the weight of of the Bills fan is on his shoulder, right? But also, he got married, he had a kid, so other responsibilities as an athlete. When you have kids, your wife, I mean, there's not a moment where you're gonna be like out of that meeting and be like, I wonder what my baby's doing. I wonder what, instead of just trying to strictly football, right? It's other things. Checking my phone. I mean, what if something happened? I mean, it's a whole new different, and then I think that is the leadership, Josh's parents, really, growing up and where he grew up and what he's doing now. I think he's handled it perfectly. And I think even if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, which I think he will, I think if he keep putting up these numbers for another, 4, 5 years, give it, I mean, how long? I mean, Brady played to his 42. I'm not saying that he's Brady, but, at some point in time, Josh is going to say, all right, done with this. It's family now and whatever. Because there's going to, I don't know. You don't know when that's going to be. No. So yeah, I mean, but he's tremendous, and if he keeps up this, I actually took a video at the Hall of Fame this weekend. They have a couple of weekends. They got Josh's jersey in there, and cleats, and another one of his records that he broke or whatever. And I did a video. I said, "Someday, Josh, you might be here," and and so yeah, he's awesome, man. He's awesome to watch. Like we said earlier, I knew it was kind of a different game, but I think even back then, he would still be putting up numbers, I think, back then, if he played back when we played. But I think the injury probably would jump into effect because I've seen Jim release a football and see Kevin Green take 5 steps, hit him, and no flag was called.
They didn't protect the quarterback.
They didn't protect the quarterback. They just paid him money, but they didn't really protect him. But yeah, man, this kid is, I love watching him play. I absolutely do. The game is never over when he's out on the football field. Like right now, I don't know where you put Josh in 4 years as far as the Buffalo Bills. My favorite number one always will be the all-time greatest Buffalo Bill, in my opinion, is Bruce Smith. Now, what does Josh have to do to, bump Bruce? Isn't just win a Super Bowl. I mean, that could be it.
Yeah.
If you're just talking like, he won a Super Bowl. He's a quarterback or whatever. But I think if the Super Bowl comes and the numbers continue to climb like they are, there will be a lot of debate about who's the greatest Buffalo Bill. Bruce Smith, Josh Allen, and I still throw Jim in there too. Did
I hear you say that if Marv hadn't taken you out of the game every time you get down to the 5-yard line, Josh might not have passed your touchdown?
Oh, he would have never got it. I would have had over 100 touchdowns rushing. No, he would still be climbing for, but that was another sacrifice for the team that I had to make.
Real quick, you would have won at least 2 rushing titles if you hadn't sat out those last games. Well, explain to the fans who aren't old enough, Marv would keep you out of that last game because you guys were looking ahead to the Super Bowl and the playoffs.
Yeah.
But you definitely would have, and I know one for sure, right?
Right. Well, at least one for sure. And I think, I played I played earlier. I think it was 91. I played earlier, and I got like maybe 3 carries for 4 yards or whatever against Washington. And Barry beat me by 3 yards because he got like 10 yards. I'm like, if I could have got at least 20, I probably would have won the rushing title. But
not that you remember all that.
Yeah, not that I remember all that, Marvin. But yeah, I talk about it all the time. Sacrificing for the team, letting Kenny Davis run short yardage, letting Kenny Davis, we have an 8-play drive. I carried the ball 7 times down the field to the 1. He put Kenny in to get a 1-yard touchdown. I'm like, how is that even? Oh, so yeah, but I
did Marv ever explain that to you?
No, never explained. I mean, he would have gave up some type of history lesson, and I would have lost track of what he was talking about. So yeah, I never bothered him about that. But I do say, remember this: Elijah Pitts used to always say, Marv, you need to put Thurman in more. And Marv never would. Well,
on that note, Thurman, thanks so much for coming out. The great Thurman Thomas. And at some point, I know you got a busy schedule. We'll have to have you back before the season's over because it's always great talking to you. And not just how you've always been candid. You always tell it like it is. But you're a good guy. It's always great to have you around.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
We'll be back next week. More of Nuff Said with yours truly, Bob Koshinski. Until then, have yourselves a great night and a much better tomorrow.